Three, two, one. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Nine Hole Podcast. I hope everybody is doing well. This is your host, Ian Miller. I am back today with another episode. I got another guest with me, a fantastic baseball player, a grinder, somebody that I looked up to, somebody that I tried to emulate, playing alongside, playing against in my career in college in the minor leagues. Played with the Twins as well. Zack Granite from Seton Hall, ex-Major League outfielder with the Minnesota Twins. Brother, how are you doing? I appreciate you being here.
I'm doing well, man. Doing well. How are you?
I love it, dude. I'm doing fantastic, dude. We're in the middle of the baseball season right now. A lot of good baseball being played, both collegiately, both professionally. It's an exciting time. The weather's starting to get nice, dude. Obviously, being in the Northeast, you know what that's like, bro. So times are magical right now, dude. It's great. We're getting kind of, in the heart of the season, man. So I thought it was important to get a guy like you on here, man, with your story, somebody that I looked up to, like I said, tried to play like, and shared. Obviously, we shared the field with each other, man. I wanted to talk about your story, how you came up in the game, how you were able to defy all odds, pretty much being a speed and defensive center fielder, right? Using your speed to separate in a world of launch angle, in a world of home runs, extra base hits, right? Slugging percentage, man. I'd love to talk about your journey, like what worked for you, how you stood out, man. And like maybe somebody in the audience today can take something from your story and implement it in their own journey and benefit, dude. So, man, if that's cool, I'd love to ask you some questions about like how you came up in the game. And dude, like, first of all, you grew up in Staten Island. And so I went to school at Wagner College. You went to school at Seton Hall, man. What was it like growing up in Staten Island, getting seen? What was like the baseball scene like, man? How did you get seen? How did you stand out?
So for me, I mean, like same thing like you, like we had the speed, right? And the cool thing about speed compared to power is I can show off in any way. Like if you put the ball in play, you're showing off, right? Like there's so many different things that we can do, and like beating out ground balls, like just doing every little thing, playing ridiculous outfield. So I played for a team in Staten Island called Richmond County, right? And my coach Nick Defendis was a great coach. He really liked me. And one way that I got noticed, and I know a lot of people aren't going to believe this, but Johnny Franco's kid, JJ Franco, I played with, he was the shortstop, and I was the center fielder. So every inning when we used to go out, I used to toss him the ball, and he would throw a high fly ball, and I would go run and catch it. So when I'm not even, let's say I went 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts, which never happens. I didn't strike out, but I'm always showing off my speed, right? Baseball game to me is a game of showing off. You got to show your talents.
Amen.
How do you get seen? You show off. So he would toss me, even if I just got out, whatever we did it every single inning. And I'm telling you, the littlest detail is what people loved it. People loved it. And all he did was he got out or I got out, or whatever, end the inning, was switching gloves, grab my glove, I toss him the ball, he'd throw a fly ball, I'd run, catch it, and warm up with the right or the left fielder.
I love that.
And just something like that for me is that, for me, not that I'm not saying I was lazy, but I wanted to, like, I needed to be pushed, right? So competitiveness was always like, it just made me go. So for me, him tossing me the ball, I'm not dropping the ball. I'm not looking like an idiot dropping the ball. I'm going to get the ball.
That's right.
So whatever it is, I'm catching that ball. Like we had a thing with the Twins. The only thing that falls in the outfield is raindrops.
Byron Buxton.
I love that. Like I love that.
It's amazing.
The only thing that falls in the outfield is rain. When I'm out there, that's my goal. And like that's I took it personal, right? Like you hear that stuff. It's like, dude, my pitcher's on the mound. He might make a bad pitch, but I got to go get that ball. I got to make him look good. Right. And then it's just, that's what I did. I wanted to make it like whatever I did, I was showing my talents.
I love that.
That's how I got seen.
Dude, I absolutely love that. I talked about it. I got a newsletter called the Nine Hole Newsletter. It's where I just take a topic that was specifically related to my career. This past week, it talked about playing your game. So like when I was coming up, playing my game, trying to get seen, like if the more legit tournaments and teams that I played on, the more like these guys were huge, they would be able to bop a little bit. They could leave the yard whenever they wanted in BP or in a game. And it's like, dude, I always felt like I was on the outside looking in
Yeah.
because I was a speed guy and like that was my
Mhm.
tool. I couldn't really leave the yard, dude. It was tough. So like you're saying, putting the ball in play, that's you get a chance to stand out anytime you're able to do that, man. So you were competitive. You obviously had a skill set that it was probably a little different than everybody else, man. Like, what was the recruiting process like for you? How were you able to get your name out? So obviously, if you can separate with your speed and your talent, and being able to showcase it, was the recruiting game kind of coming easy to you? Like, what was that like?
Oh, well, I was obviously, one of the smaller guys, right? And like I think a lot of people know this that around the Northeast, I wanted to go to Rutgers. I was big
Really?
on going to Rutgers. I really wanted to go to Rutgers, and I really wanted to go to St. John's. Those were like my two
Oh,
things. And it's funny because every time I played them, I made sure that they knew that they messed up not taking
that's
me.
right.
So another really good player Rutgers had, Brian O'Grady, which is like right around our grade.
Yep,
Uh, you know, I don't know the kid. He could be the nicest kid in the world. There's just the fact that they took him over me like pissed me off.
I get it.
It pissed me off so much. So it was just like one of those things where I had to make sure that that just it kept that chip on my shoulder, man. And that's something that they took him over me, which is fine. I get it, but I wanted to make sure that I'll never root for Rutgers in any sport just because of that. Like
That makes
like
sense.
it's just something that I always wanted to go to, like that big time school. You always hear about Rutgers here in Jersey and stuff. You go to any stores and they're usually selling Rutgers gear and stuff like that. So that's something that I wanted to do. And then I ended up going to Seton Hall, which was the perfect fit for me. My style of play, huge field,
Yeah,
like
brother.
tremendous baseball field. Like
Huge.
it's gotten they made it a little bit better, but when I was there, it was like I've never seen a home run hit to right field. Like
Yeah,
it was
dude.
that big.
I
So
remember. I
yeah,
remember
so
that field, man. It's
I
amazing.
remember, and the way I got recruited to Seton Hall, I'll just talk about this real quick, is I hit a ground ball to shortstop and I beat it out in high school, right? And then I stole second, I stole third, and I scored on a ground out, right? Like that, and that was it couldn't have worked out any better for me because Seton Hall was the perfect school for me. I give a lot of credit to Seton Hall of the way I was played, and it's such a small ball school, right? Like we did a ton of bunting, and I mean, man, like that type of style helped me when I got to the next level because there's a lot of there's a lot of hits. There's a lot of hits on the field, but
That's right.
guys don't take advantage of it. I don't think anymore, as much as
100%.
they could. Like I know guys like me and you, man. Like I wanted to make sure, like, hey, if you're playing back, I'm getting hit. Like I don't care. Like you can talk exit velocity all you want, but if I know if I'm really good at it, if I have a specific tool, I need to use it. Like so,
Yes.
I don't care about exit velocity if I can get on and the exit velocity doesn't win you games. You can hit 17 balls at 105, but if you score more runs than the other team, you win.
Yeah, bro.
Like that's the name of the game is crossing home plate more than the other team. So I don't
100%.
care about your stats and all that. I care about winning the game. So like I kind of going off a little bit off topic there, but yeah,
No.
I was always wanting to stay in the Northeast, so it was an easy decision for me. I think that was the only thing that I had. I did not want to go far. I was a mama's boy. Like my mom, like did a lot for me, and I'm family oriented and stuff like that. So I wanted to stay close, and that's why I wanted Rutgers or St. John's, or Seton Hall. I almost ended up at Wagner too because I loved Laterio a lot when I
Yeah,
was
man.
getting.
Same here. I was a big fan of Joe Litt, man. Obviously, he brought me in. He saw me play a little bit, and man, the rest is history. So before I jump over, I wanted to ask you another question about like, what don't the parents and the players understand about the recruiting process, just based off of what you've experienced and what you've seen. Before we even get there, you mentioned something about playing small ball and bunting, utilizing your speed and putting the ball in play however you do it when the infield's back, dude. So before I lose track of this, is there any tips that you could just throw my way, my audience's way, like everybody's way, maybe on an idea or two or a tip on bunting, dude? Is there something? Is it a thought process? Are you trying to bunt the ball at the end of the bat? Are you looking for a specific pitch? Like maybe what's just like a couple points on bunt?
Well, first of all, you need to buy into the fact that it's a craft. Like it's an art and it's freaking beautiful. Like
Amen.
it's it brings the team energy. It pisses the pitcher off. The pitcher's cursing. Like the infield gets pissed because you caught them off guard. Like, you know what I'm saying?
That's
And
right.
sometimes you're like, I got so good at it that it was like they knew it was coming and they still couldn't stop it. And like to think about that, like that's special, right?
Yeah.
Like that's something that's extremely cool. And there was just so many little details in it, and I got like so smart with it that I was even like, oh damn. So I would know who's the third baseman, how many errors does he have, right? Did he just get out? Like, because that was a big deal. Because I know, I mean, especially in Pro Bowl, like, you know, not that winning doesn't matter in Pro Bowl, but like the individual, we all care about how we're doing.
It's about development. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Exactly, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like if that third baseman just got out and he threw his stuff, I'm bunting on him every single time. I don't even care if he's in because his mind's not there. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it was like it's the cat and mouse game, right? And then anytime there was a lefty on the mound and I wasn't comfortable, I'm bunting because if I get it by the pitcher, I'm safe.
Oh, every time.
You know, so it's like, and I can go both ways. Like I can pull it with me or I can drop it down third. So like the scare was always there.
Yeah,
You know
the
what I'm saying?
threat.
So, and then if there was just so many different things, like if I hit a home run, my next at bat I'm bunting, right?
That's
Like just
fire.
because like it's just always like that cat and mouse game. Or if I hit it right by the third baseman, my last at bat, I'm bunting the next time up because he knows I just hit it by him. So he's like, okay, I got to make sure I'm playing. He takes a step back a little bit. So
100%, bro.
yeah,
100%.
so it was just like that little cat and mouse game. And yeah, I always try to deaden it to third, and then when I went down to first, I would try to hit the barrel.
Okay. No, that's fantastic, dude. I love all that. Just wanted to touch on that before, we hit on this like recruiting scouting process. So I'm going to, we're going to talk a little bit about, getting drafted and playing pro ball, but like this recruiting process. So obviously like you had to play your game, you had to do it in front of the right people. You had to do everything right in order to get from little league to the big leagues, and you did it at a high level, man. Like, what don't players and their parents maybe know or understand yet about the recruiting process if they haven't experienced it yet, man? Is there a trick or an idea to go about it to maybe, up your chances of having success in the recruiting game?
I think it so for guys like us, I feel like the recruiting game is, we got to run a good 60, right? Like everybody's is a little bit different. I know like no matter how I did at a showcase or anything like that, if I ran a good 60, I'm me and you, right? Like if we run good 60s, hey, that guy ran a 6.5. Hey, that guy ran a 6.4. We're immediately on their radar.
That's right, brother.
So like for me, the recruiting process is difficult, right? And I think it's getting easier now with social media
Mm,
because you can put it, every kid now has their own Instagram and highlights, right? And like I think a big thing is going to the camp. Like I went to Seton Hall's camp and I
gotcha.
did well, right? Like first impressions matter in sports, right? So if you have a good day at that camp and that's a school that you want to go to, like that's extremely important. You got to get in front of the coaches, right? So I think there's a big scam out there when it comes to a lot of this stuff because I mean I'm not throwing anybody under the bus, but they're charging a lot of money for showcases and stuff like
Absolutely.
that where it's like, I just want to get in front of the coach's eyes, right? Like because if I do that and it can kind of work out and they're interested in that style of play, I think it's extremely important for that type of player. I think kids nowadays need to know what kind of school is that? Do they bunt? Do they do this stuff? Am I good at that? Does their program fit me?
Mm,
Like I'm not gonna try to force my way. Like if I would have went to, I'm not an ACC school. I was 160 pounds in college. Like like I slapped the ball, right? Like I was the perfect mold for Seton Hall because I was that type of player. I was old school.
yeah.
I did things in an old school way. I had a fantastic eye, right? Like I think people need to realize. Sorry, my cat's going to be in this
You're
video,
good,
but
man.
I
No
think
worries.
I think people need to realize like you want to fit their mold, And I think people don't understand that. They think they have like big aspirations, which is fantastic. Like I have kids, oh, I'm going to the Florida State camp. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. Well, let's work on being really good in high school before we go to Florida State,
Exactly,
right?
dude.
Like you got to be one of the best players in the state of Jersey before we start shooting for the stars.
Amen.
You know what
Amen.
I'm saying? So it's like don't go for the name. I wanted to go Division 3. I wanted to go to Kane University. I wanted to play there, and I wanted to, I wanted to play.
Yeah,
Like I
dude.
didn't care D1, D2, D3. I see it all the time. Oh, I want to go D1. I just want to play and I want to win. I wanted to go to Kane University. You want to know why? Because I wanted to compete for a national championship. Like
Mm,
I wanted to play. I wanted to be a champion. That's it. That's all I cared about.
I love
I
that.
didn't care about my stats and all that. I wanted to compete for a championship.
That's
And
fantastic.
it's, all I cared about was winning, right? All I cared about was winning. I wanted to win in high school, which I did. I wanted to win in college, Big East championship, which I did, right? And I wanted to win a World Series. I didn't get that far, but that was something that was was my goal. But I think the recruiting process, I think kids need to start to understand more. Hey, am I a good fit for this program? Hey, do they do what I'm good at? You know what I'm saying? I think kids need to understand that a little bit more rather than just saying, "Hey, I want to go to Virginia Tech."
Yeah,
Okay,
dude.
well, I don't want to sit. Like you don't develop by sitting. You develop by playing. So
100%.
even if you have to go the JUCO route or D3 route, dude, you could transfer in like 2 minutes nowadays. It's not even like a big deal.
100%, man.
Like
100%.
go earn. You got to earn it. Stop asking for handouts. This generation pisses me off with, oh, I deserve this. You don't deserve anything. You take it. And even when you take it, you got to freaking hold it because there's always somebody willing to replace you.
Oh,
One quick story, real quick. So I went to Seton Hall, right? I'm I had a good freshman year. We're the Big East champions. You know, my shit don't stink technically. I'm walking around with my chest out. I'm from Staten Island. Like I always had that kind of swagger and stuff like that. My sophomore year, I ended up, getting hurt a little bit. I hurt my hammy a little bit. Certain things. Next year, they bring in this kid who's I'm not going to say he's faster than me, but he was quick. They're trying to replace you every single time.
mm,
And if you don't realize that, you're out of your mind.
amen.
They're always trying to replace you. They might try to replace you even if they love you, they're trying to replace you.
That's right. They have
It's,
to.
it's ruthless.
Absolutely, brother. Like what you're saying, um, nowadays, kids want the Instagram pic. They want the Twitter, I just committed to a D1 school. Like you want the clout pretty much. But these
Yeah.
seniors or these juniors, right? They commit and then they get on campus. They go that way. They show up and they're sixth, in the depth chart, right? So they're the sixth left fielder. It's like, hey, dude, fantastic. You got 1,000 likes on IG. You got 1,000 likes and retweets on Twitter. That's great. But like you could have played at Wagner or you could have played at a PSAC school in Pennsylvania. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and if you had a fantastic freshman year, you probably could have transferred up or you know what I mean? Like it's crazy how that works. If you don't get on campus and you're not playing, how can you develop, bro? How can you expect to develop? It's
Yeah.
mind blowing.
Yeah. I can't believe I went into Seton Hall and I was like, I need to make this like I need to be a starter. I like there that was and I had to earn it. There wasn't like I was going to Seton Hall and they were like, hey, you're guaranteed the starting job. No, I had to earn it. Right? I was hitting in the cage every single night by myself. Right? I was reaching out to the seniors. Hey, do you want to hit with me? Maybe I can pick something up. You know what I'm saying? Like I was a visual guy. Like I can't believe the amount of guys that don't watch other guys hit. Like I needed to watch other guys hit. And it ended up hurting me when I got to the big league level. And we can go into a little bit more depth with that because I'm watching guys hit in the big leagues and everybody, you're just like, whoa, that ball went far.
That's right.
Whoa, that ball went far.
That's right.
Wow, that's even further. And that wasn't my game. And it hurt me a little bit. But and you don't really see that a lot in the minor leagues in college,
Yeah.
but it was I loved like learning from people. Like that was I asked a ton of questions. Like I love to talk baseball. I love to talk. Like, what are you thinking? Like I need to know what you're thinking because you're hitting 350, and if I can think that, I'm gonna hit 350.
100%, brother.
So it's like I love to talk that talk, like because even it's the slightest little thing because I knew it wasn't my swing. I think I'm still a believer. Your swing is your swing. It's your mindset that changes.
Amen.
Like I'm a big mindset guy. So like if I can put myself in a position where I'm thinking something good, right? And I'm confident and I have that like FU mentality, I was always gonna be successful.
I love that, dude. Like just talking about what you're saying on, watching other people hit. I remember playing you when it was like 2015 Chattanooga, right? I'm in Jackson, and just I think that was the first year in pro ball that I got to play against you, see what you were about. I think you got protected right at the season end right there. Like you had a fucking year, brother. And I remember watching you hit. I'm in the outfield and I'm like, okay, I can get eyes on this guy. And I would watch every single movement you would make. I loved how like before you would gather, I would almost see like your hands start to go back a little bit. I just feel like I can see it now because what you're saying about like watching the game, being a student of the game, asking questions, seeing how other guys do it, and trying to not implement, but see how that compares to you and what you're doing. Like I feel everything you're saying, man. I remember watching you and I'm like, dude, this guy's hitting 290, 300 in double A over a full season. How is he
Yeah.
able to do this? You're laying down bunts with ease, left, right, like past the pitcher, to the pitcher, get safe, stealing bags. I'm like, dude, what is going on, bro? So everything you're saying, you get to the big leagues and everybody's, way better than us. And they're like, dude, how are you able to do it, bro?
Yeah. Yeah. So like a big attribute I have, and I want to give him a major shout out because he is the reason why I was a big leaguer was Doug Minkiewicz. He was my double A manager when I was in Chattanooga.
I
And it's
remember
honestly a shame he's not in the big leagues. I'd fight for that guy. So I literally run through a wall if he asked me to. That's how much he meant to me and how impactful he was on my career.
I've
And
heard
just
that. I've heard that from other people too, man. I've heard he's a solid stand-up dude.
he was the best because he fought for his players more than anybody. And I've had some great coaches my entire life. Doug Minkiewicz is by well and far. He should, I mean, if he wanted to, I don't know if he wants to, but he should, if he wanted to be in pro ball, being a big league manager, he 100% should because he is the best coach I've ever played for. And it's not even close. And it's not to say I haven't had other good managers, but he is that far above everybody. And just another quick story. I'm in double A to start the season in April and I wasn't off to a good start. And he called everybody, like he wrote on the board early hitting that day. And this guy, he's a baller, man. This guy's a baller. And I had early hitting that day, and I'm like, let's go. It's like the first week of May, and I'm like, let's go. I had a terrible April, and he's like, all right, Granite, here we go. He puts the ball on the tee, and he goes, the way you play the game, you'll never make it to the big leagues. And for the first time in my life, I'm like, that's the first time somebody said, hey, you're not that good. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's always saying, oh, you're so good. I love the way you play. I love the way you play. But I love the fact that he's like, hey, the way you play the game, you're never going to make it to the big leagues. And I was like, man, now you got my freaking attention.
I love that.
I
BS.
love it. Nobody's ever said that to me. And he wasn't scared to tell me. Another reason why I believe that you need to do it, right? Like I learned from somebody that's done it before. Now, I know that maybe that's a dig on other people, but that's the way I learn from people that have played in the big leagues.
Same.
That's the only way I'm going to learn. It's because you've done it. I can listen to you.
For sure.
So that's the and we worked on getting my hands back more, and he was able like driving the baseball and stuff like that. So and he was like, Grant, he's like, you can hit home runs. He's like, I don't want you to turn into a home run hitter, but like, if you want to be successful, you got to learn how to move the outfielders back, because once you learn that you can move the outfielders back, you become the most dangerous player on the field. And talk about wanting to run through a brick wall. I mean, like I would run through a brick wall for him because once I started getting my hands back a little more, and I'll never forget my first home run I hit in Chattanooga was like a 96-mile-an-hour fastball, and I just turned on it and I crushed it. And as I'm rounding third base, he's like, I effing told you.
That's amazing.
And I was fired up because I was like, man, this guy taught me how to play this game. And it was just like the multiple tools in your arsenal, right? Because listen to this now. You ready? I can lay a bunt down. I can slap a ball by you. Now that I can drive the ball over your head, I move the outfielders back, right? So now I can drive it over your head. I can dink one in front of you. Now I become the most dangerous player on the field. Not the best hitter, because I was never the best hitter, but I was the most dangerous because as soon as I got on, let's go. Because now my guys behind me are getting more fastballs because I'm leading the league in stolen bases. So now my 2, 3, 4 hitters are getting fed fastballs.
It's
I
amazing.
mean,
It's a win-win.
that's how you win games.
That's how you win
Score
games. That's how you get
more
an
runs than others.
opportunity. Yeah, for a team that wants to win, bro. Like a
Yeah,
team that wants to win, they need to have guys in the lineup. I'm talking in the big leagues, like a major league team that wants to win. They need to have guys with that skill set, with that attitude, with that mentality. Like, hey, if my team needs me to get a sack bunt down or a base hit bunt down or try to steal a bag in a big spot, like you can come off the bench and do that, bro. I think that's like, at least that's how I got an opportunity in the big
yeah.
leagues. You know what I mean? Like fully buying in there. I always saw dudes trying to hit home runs, and I'm like, man, let me drop the back shoulder, let me get the swing a little loopy, and then I start jamming everything, bro. Everything's weak in the air. It's like, man, what am I doing? So just
I
hearing
was
that,
fouling off good pitches when I started trying to hit home runs. I'm
it's
fouling off
crazy.
meatballs, pitches right down that I should be, driving right back over his face.
Hundred
You
percent.
know,
So you're
like,
saying it's more of a mindset?
yeah,
Okay, okay, a little bit more of a mindset than a mechanic or a necessarily.
yeah. Like I mean, me and you, like I stopped playing it in 2021, right before my daughter was born. But I tried to just feel the stretch of like getting my body engaged, and I tried to pull the ball.
I get it.
I was a terrible player towards the end of my career because I was a shadow of Zack Granite. I wasn't the Zack Granite that got drafted that made it to the big leagues. I was trying to hit a ball a certain exit velocity because that's what the numbers told me to do. And I am still mad to this day. I don't know if I'll ever forgive myself for going away from who I am as a player.
Damn, dude. I feel that, brother. I feel that. I feel that because it's the same thing with me, man. Whenever I would start struggling or start scuffling, you try to change something up, or you see somebody else get an opportunity, or you see somebody else get called up. You see what a team or an organization wants, what they value, what they reward, and like who gets the opportunity. And it's like, okay, I got to be like that guy, or I got to have the exit velocity and launch angle average of that guy. And it's like, dude, it's not what we're here to do. You know what I mean? It's absolutely crazy, bro. It's
No, that's not
crazy.
how my but like and the tough part is we got told that a lot, right? I've been the last cut in spring training a couple times. Hey, we want you to drive the ball a little bit more. Then why'd you take me? Like,
100%.
why'd you sign me? You knew who the type of player I was. So you want me to be Mike Trout? I'm not going to be Mike Trout.
For sure.
Like I'm Zach Grant. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, am I looking at the same person here? Like, you see what I'm like? I'm a get on base type of guy. Why am I going to change? Why do you want me
Yeah.
to change?
That's not
It just
it, dude.
doesn't make any sense. And
100%.
it's on me. I'm not blaming anybody. It's on I'm a big A, own it, right? I changed. I tried to do too much, and that's why I wasn't, an established big leaguer.
Amen. Bro, I feel
Like
that.
that's on me. That's not on anybody else. That's not on the game changing. That's not on launch angle. That's not on exit velocity. That's on me
I
because
love
I,
that.
I I need to take ownership of it.
That's right. And you're taking ownership of it as an ex major league player, right? You're able to get there and it's like, dude, well, what's the difference between dudes that just get there like me as a September call up and dudes that have longevity there? And it's like, maybe playing true to yourself and your game and not deviating and like putting out those type of repetitions over and over and over again. I mean, those guys are consistently playing their game, bro. It's so tough, man, because everything's consistently changing. You see the rules now being changed. You see
Yeah,
they're changing the bases. They're changing the amount of times pitchers can pick over to base
yeah.
stealers. Like, dude, imagine how many stolen bases that you and I would have today, bro. It blows my
My
mind.
God. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
be
nuts.
amazing. Bigger bases, like it would be that's ideal. That's an ideal first. But listen, you got to give him credit, and I eventually think that it's going to go back. I just think that right now there's just so much analytical data that say, Luis Arias is lucky. My God, I'd love to have his luck then. If you think he's lucky,
That's what I'm
because
saying.
that's not luck.
350.
That's skill. That's skill, brother.
Man,
That's skill.
amen. Amen. I got to share a locker room with him briefly in my time in Minnesota. Just being able to see him work, dude. seeing the way that he handles himself, goes about his business. Like you see some videos and stuff on Twitter about him and his offseason hitting routine, and it's like, dude, he's a fucking machine, brother. It's
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah. And I bet, I mean, I don't know the numbers. I'm not a big numbers guy, but I bet his exit velocity isn't top 40. You know what I'm saying?
Probably
But
below 90 or 95 average would be my guess. I don't know.
I mean, I have no idea, but I mean, the guy knows how to play. I mean, I'm I obviously New York, New Jersey, watch a lot of Yankee games. Imagine him in front of Soto hitting on base percentage of 400. Then Soto's on base percentage is 400, and then they're both hitting over 330. It's like, oh my
It's
god,
a joke. It's a joke.
oh
That'd
my
be a
god,
joke.
Like it'd be amazing.
Yeah, bro.
It just
And
it puts so much pressure on defenses and the pitcher, but
yeah, dude,
it is,
changes the game. Changes the game. So you, excuse me, you get drafted in the 14th round out of Seton Hall. You have a fantastic minor league career going up until your call up to the big leagues. Before we get into like what that was like, what the call up was like, what the big leagues were like, man, what do kids and parents not understand about the minor league and like the minor leagues and the journey? Like everybody that plays baseball has a dream in their head, whether it is a strong dream or a faint dream, that they want to play baseball at the highest level. They would love to be Major League Baseball players, but they don't necessarily fully understand the trials and tribulations that you have to go through then that lead up to that, man. So like if you could give a tidbit of info or maybe just some insight on what that minor league grind is like, that minor league journey is like, what they should prepare for if they really want to get into it, like what don't they know about that stuff yet?
well, it's not fair. Let's put it that way. Some guys get a lot of chances. Some guys get one chance, and you better, if you're one of those guys that get one chance. I don't know if I'm allowed to curse on here, but don't fuck it up.
Absolute.
Don't mess it up because you got one chance, right? Like we had one chance,
That's right.
right? Like there's guys in the big leagues. They can hit 200 for a season and continue, and get another chance the next year. It's there is no such thing as fair. It's sports. It's ruthless. It'll rip your face off, and it doesn't care that you're upset. It doesn't care that you were a 56th rounder and you want a chance. Everybody wants a chance. So what separates you from everybody else? Right? It's the most ruthless. Sports is the most ruthless thing in the world to me, because like anything else, you have a good year, that's all well and done for that year. You got to show off again. You got to do it again and again and again and again. Like there is no, oh well, he's a nice boy and we like his parent. No, like it's hey, are you gonna prove it over and over and over again? That's the only thing that matters.
I love it.
Grind, I would say, is a little bit different now. They put you up in housing now. They feed you like a rock star now. I mean, it was when we first got drafted, we were getting hard-boiled eggs and oatmeal. Go get them.
Yeah,
right? Like
peanut butter. I'm allergic to peanut butter, brother.
How did you do that?
My mom paid my way in the minor leagues, bro. Because
Yeah.
I'm clearing $970. I'm
Yeah.
clearing after taxes every 2 weeks as a 27-year-old in AAA, bro.
I know. Yeah, it's crazy, right? And I think it's getting better, right? Like it's getting a little bit more. But like you're away from your family. Like
Yeah.
I almost quit. I almost quit baseball.
Really?
I almost quit in 2014, like
Really?
after my first year, because I'm like, first of all, I left Seton Hall, which I would have been a senior, right? Like your senior year, it's to me, I was going to be important. I was going for my last shot at winning a Big East title. I wanted another one. I wanted it bad. I obviously get drafted, and you're on an all-time high, right? You're on an all-time high. Next year, I'm in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. I had a fantastic host family. They were fantastic. I didn't have to pay. They gave me a car, all that. It was unbelievable. Cedar Rapids, Iowa, top notch, like
Sure.
great. But I'm still in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and my whole family is in New York, New Jersey. It's the summertime. My girlfriend, who was my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, just graduated. They're celebrating. Everybody's having fun, partying, and I'm sitting in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and I can't lift my right shoulder.
Oh,
like making, $300 a paycheck.
It's crazy,
So,
bro.
like the mental game is so important. And I remember calling my dad. I'm like, Dad, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can do this. Like, the guys here, I'm not really getting, not that I wasn't getting along with everybody, but I wasn't the man anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Get
Like,
it.
go from Seton Hall, like junior year, I'm leading off every single game, and I'm doing my thing, and it was just like one of those things where it's like he's like, hey, just what, finish out the year, and let's figure this out when we come home. When you come home, he's like, but you can't quit. He's like, you just got to keep pushing,
Love it.
because it's you're not a quitter. He's like, Granites aren't quitters. You don't quit. So you figure it out, and we'll go. We'll figure it out at the off season.
I love that.
And you start you start figuring it out a little bit. But that was a tough one. That was extremely tough.
Yeah,
Like,
dude.
you're missing out on senior year.
Yeah.
It's the best
Sacrifice.
year. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. So, but yeah, it's definitely a grind. I mean, it's not easy. It's not, it's not, you're a first rounder and you got millions in the bank, and if it doesn't work out, go sit on your millions of dollars and go
Yeah.
get a real job, and that's it. It was, and you see it in the minor leagues too. Like, guys that get drafted out of high school, if they play 6-7 years and don't make it, they don't have a college career. Now that they have no degree, and it's like, hey, figure it out yourself. I'll see you later, man. Good luck with everything.
It's a detriment to the start of your professional career. Now you're 6 or 7 years behind, dude. Now you got to start all over again, almost right in the workforce. You got to finish up your degree. I didn't get my degree. So it's like, as soon as baseball was done for me, it was like, oh shit, like what's next?
Yeah.
It's crazy, dude. Exactly what you're talking about. It's crazy. And like the grind, at least in my opinion, like everybody's going to have some occurrence or some like adversity they're going to have to overcome that's going to make them want to question, like, hey, dude, should I be here? Should I be doing this? Should I be doing something else? And I think there's always going to be something like that every single season, every single year. And obviously, dude, the better you get, the more advanced you get. Like, you move up levels, and your problems and your the adversity becomes more advanced as well, bro. So it's like,
Yeah, of
it's
course.
mind blowing, dude. It's mind
Yeah, I
blowing.
mean, listen, me and you, like, what do they call us? They call us 4A players, right?
Right.
You do well in AAA, but there's not a spot for you in the big leagues. Like, that's a tough place to be. It's like purgatory. Like, you're just like, I know I can play at the next level, but like, there's only 3 outfield positions, and there's top prospects wherever you are. There is no, oh, this team sucks, and hey, we're gonna give Granite a shot for a full year and see how it does. Everybody's there. Every year there's a first round pick. Every year there's a first round pick. Every year there's a second round pick. And those guys, that they're just always trying to replace you. Like we go from the when we talking about from the beginning, they're constantly trying to replace you.
Yeah.
If they don't try to replace you, they're out of they're not good. They're not a good organization, right?
Doing
Like,
their
I mean,
job.
look, and it's everywhere. It's not just baseball. I mean, look, they signed Kirk Cousins to $80 million, whatever many millions they're paying him. They draft a quarterback in the first round.
Yeah, dude.
Like, they're always trying to replace you. Even when they're paying you, they're trying to replace you.
It's wild.
If that's not a wake-up call for everybody, and that's the tough part. Like, the minor leagues is a grind for anybody. I think it's a grind for first rounders too, right? Obviously, the more money you have in your bank account, the easier it is. But at the same time, it's still a grind. It's a mental game. I know first rounders, they struggle a little bit because they feel the pressure. Everybody's talking about them. They sneeze and people are writing, oh, he's not a good sneezer. Like, what? Like, just, it's they write about everything.
Sure.
I came up through the Twins. They had the Twins blog and all that, but
For sure, brother. For sure.
It's definitely tough, the minor leagues. It's not an easy thing. You're away from your family. And you're not making much money. That's the tough part. That's
Yeah,
extreme.
it's the sacrifices there, bro. You're right, dude. It's insane being in another part of the world, experiencing new things in the game of baseball, not making any money. It's tough. It's a grind. It's a little different today, but it is what it is. So let's say you progress through your minor league career, dude. You're having a fantastic career up until this point, dude. What was the major league call up for you like? Were you anticipating it? Were you surprised? Was it like a storybook call up story, dude? When I got called up, I was a Seattle Mariner. I had gotten traded over to the Twins. This was in 2019. So when I got called up by the AAA coach, I didn't really know him, dude. So it wasn't personal. it was like I spent 25 days with him in Rochester, and he's like, Skins was like, "Hey, dude, have you been called up before?" I said, "No." He's like, "Okay, you're going up." Just shook my hand, and that was it. I'm like, "Wha- you know what I mean? Like, was it a little different for you, dude? What was the experience like?
So it was a very, very emotional and cool story. So I had a great time. After May 31st, we sucked in Rochester for the whole month. Nobody was really hitting. Michael Kadire comes into town. Michael Kadire is a stud, by the way. Awesome dude. Twins did a great job with all that stuff. Twins will always be my favorite organization. Michael Kadire comes into town and he's talking to us in the cage as a team. And what he said was just like, so I took it and I freaking ran with it. And he was just like, dude, like, you gotta be, when you hit in the cage, it's gotta be with like your shoes should be ripped up. Like it motivated me so much. Like I like ran with it. And from June 1st to July 1st, I hit like 470 leading off the month. I was like, it was unbelievable. Like I was just double, triple home runs. I was hitting like crazy. So for the month of June, I was player of the month for the International League, and I hit 470 in the month.
In the month,
In the month, I hit 470, which
dear
is
Lord.
yeah. So I got my batting average up to like 370. It was insane. And my teammates are like, dude, you're getting called up. 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 All right. Doesn't happen. And then guys are like, dude, this guy's still not getting called up. You know, like it was insane. So then July comes and, you know, whatever. I'm a big team guy. Like I, I, I might be a little bit pissed inside that I'm not getting called up, but we got to keep the energy. I got to keep playing well. I got to keep playing well. So it was like July 7th and Rochester, right? In the month of April, you're barely playing, right? Like, cause it's so like June, July, you're playing doubleheader after doubleheader. We had legit 10 players and one of them was a catcher, like, and two of them were catchers. So they just rotated on and off. So you're playing every single game, both games, like doesn't matter.
Wow.
We're hitting in the cage and my coach comes in and he goes, "Hey, we got a lineup change." And I'm thinking in my head, like, I got a big mouth. I'm like, how the hell do we have a lineup change? We got 9 guys.
Yeah.
Like, what does that even mean? He looks at me, he goes, "Adios," and he like sticks his hand out. And all the boys around me like picked me up and like it was really cool. It was a really cool moment. I had guys that I played with for a long time, like Nico Goodrum, Mitch Garver,
Yep.
like the older guys on the team. Like everybody always seemed to, I don't even want to toot my own horn, but everyone always seemed to like me as a teammate. You know, like I was likable as a teammate. I
Yeah.
ran I kept it loose in the clubhouse. I made fun of myself. You know, everybody loves a guy like that.
For sure.
So, yeah, so he was like, my wife is in town. So I call her up. I'm like, "Hey, you gotta, like, I'm going to Minnesota." So she drove home and then flew to Minnesota like the next day. It was crazy. It was insane. It was just the coolest thing in the world.
I love
It was
that, man.
like, yeah, I know, like I have 2 kids now. I got married and all that, but I still think that's the coolest thing that's
For
ever
sure.
happened.
Dude, it's the one thing. It's like the one dream that you have since you're 3 years, since you're conscious enough to have a dream, right? I mean, at least in my experience, excuse me, I feel the same way, bro. So, like throughout your, minor league journey, throughout your major league journey, dude, where was like the most memorable spot that you ever played? Like, was there? I know you played a little bit in Nashville. I know it's an awesome spot. Target Fields, obviously, like an incredible spot. Like, where in your mind throughout your whole journey stood out to you as like this is the best spot I've ever played?
So, this is a good question. Obviously, Yankee Stadium has a lot of really cool memories, and being able to walk on that field. First thing I did was I went to the Monument Park. I mean, that was like I walked it myself. Like, felt like there was, I had goosebumps.
It's amazing.
Which that's the obvious answer, but I'm going to go a little bit different here. So we played the Dodgers in 2017 when they went on that ridiculous run, and the crowd was just unbelievable. Like it was so cool, and that was when I had like a 2 to 3 week stint where I was starting every day. So I was a major league starter, not a guy coming off the bench, which is extremely hard, by the way, when you're used to playing every single day.
Yeah.
So I was getting consistent at bats, and I was doing my thing up there. And the crowd was just unbelievable out there in LA.
It's
It was
amazing.
so cool. And it was one of those things where like, dude, you felt the energy and you played with that energy. I'm a big transfer of energy guy. Like I love like when a guy shows energy, like it gets me fired up, you know? So like
Absolutely.
when the crowd's bringing it and like they had some come from behind wins and it got loud there and out, like being out on that field, it was like it was really cool. It was really cool for me.
Dude, that's absolutely amazing. So 2021 comes around, like COVID-19, 2020, 2021, and dude, you end up playing for the Yankees around this time, dude. Like
Yeah.
what was that overall experience like? So, um, dude, 2000, yeah, COVID shut that everything down. Dudes like us lose a year of productivity,
Mhm.
like competing,
Mhm.
development, all that stuff, getting more eyes on us, and
Yep.
just kind of like competing at that level, brother. What was it like to kind of play for the hometown team, get acclimated with the New York Yankees, and then COVID kind of throws like a wrench in the plans, bro. What was that overall experience like?
It was probably the biggest high to lowest low I've ever had. Signing with the Yankees, my dream was to like every day drive to New York Yankee Stadium. Like, you see like Jeter do it in his document series and all that, and like that was like the goal. I mean, you're standing in your backyard, you're thinking it's Yankee Stadium. That's just what you do, right? As a kid growing up in New York, and I've watched teams win. You want to talk about from 1996? You want me to keep going?
My bad. My charger just fell out, brother. I'm listening.
Okay, so I'm just like so excited to put on the Yankees stuff. I still do today, because it's big for me around this time to put the Yankee gear on. Me, everybody loves the Yankees, but to go from playing, like we show off by playing, right? Like, I'm not going to be one of those guys. Oh wow, he hit that ball 99 miles an hour. Or, oh, like that wasn't me. I did, I would bloop one in at 86 miles an hour, and then I would hit, bump one for like 34 miles an hour, and then like, slap a ball for 90 miles an hour, and I'm 3 for 3. But I feel like after, like during that season, I was part of the 60-man pool, so I got to go to Scranton and train and all
Awesome.
that. But there's no fielders. So there's no fielders. So everything is, hey, you hit that ball 92 miles an hour. We want you to try to hit that ball a little bit harder. And I'm like, how do I do that? Like it's just one of those things where it's like the game, like that year, I became a freak with I got to hit the ball harder because there's no fielders. So how do you show off when you can't? I can't use the one tool that I'm the best at. Like you're on first base trying to get reads and you're stealing second, but the catcher's not throwing the
I
ball. There's
can't
no
emulate it.
there's no meaning. So I struggled. I struggled because I'm trying to hit the ball harder. That's not my game. So like the biggest thing that if anybody takes anything away from this is if you try to be anything more than yourself, you will probably struggle. And I
I love
think
that.
people need to understand that because if you try to be more than what you are, I'm only going to be like I love Miguel Cabrera. I love the way he played, his unbelievable hit tool. If I try to be Miguel Cabrera, I would be a poor man's Miguel Cabrera. But I can be Zack Granite 100%.
I love that, dude. I
I
love
can
it
maybe be like 42% Miguel Cabrera, like, and is that going to be good enough? No, because that's not my skill set.
for sure, for sure.
So I like at that year, I was so excited because I was going to be able to play for Phil Plantier, who was a really, really good hitting coach. And I was really excited to be able to work with him. I'm pretty sure I was going to be the leadoff hitter up in Scranton every single day, getting 500 at bats. And you never know from that situation, right?
Yeah,
Maybe I have
yeah.
a really good year. Maybe I get called up by the New York Yankees, and maybe we win a World Series that year. It's just you never know. You never know. But it didn't happen, and I ended up chasing stuff that I shouldn't have been chasing, and
I
I
get it.
started chasing metrics, and my mindset changed uh, in a very negative way, and I don't know if I'll ever forgive myself for that. But that's my own personal stuff
Yeah,
because I went away from who I am because I thought they didn't care about defense. I thought they didn't care about my speed, so I'm slowing up a little bit, and all I'm trying to do is focus on driving the baseball.
Yes, bro. Yes, bro. And it's got a negative effect on players like us, especially if
Um,
that's not how we got here, especially if that's not our game, man. So I
yeah.
love all of that, what you're saying, dude. I feel it, like I said earlier. So we talked about, the high school journey, maybe a little bit of the college journey, minor leagues, some major league stuff. You gave some great, great, great insight on the bunting game a little bit, some great insight on the recruiting, the minor league, the journey, all that stuff, maybe some stuff to be wary of, get in front of, have an idea about before you try to embark on this long-term journey, the flip of the coin, whether you make it or not, dude. Man, I'd love to ask just a couple more questions, man. I'm so grateful for your time. Again, we're here with Zack Granite, ex Major League outfielder with the Minnesota Twins. Zack, I'd love to ask you just man, maybe one or two more questions, dude. Specifically about your stolen base prowess. I'm pretty sure that's the word. Like how good you were on the bases, man. How elite you were at being able to steal a bag, whether it's second or third, like whatever. Man, if we could give some tips or just ideas on stolen bases that maybe you teach your kids, or if you had a son and he was in high school and he wanted to be a stolen base threat, like what would you tell him? What would you give any type of advice to the next generation about on stealing a bag?
That's a great question. So again, going back to the Minnesota Twins, I had a coach, Sam Prolazzo. He was an unbelievable. He was their base running guy for the Twins,
Okay.
and I took everything he said and I ran with it. And that was the year that I led the minor leagues in stolen bases. So pretty much it was just like, hey, you want to do a cat and mouse game, right? Like if you're stealing, you want him to think you're not stealing. And when you're not stealing, you want him to think you're stealing, right? So if you were to go into somebody's house and rob something, you wouldn't draw attention to yourself, right? So there were key things in body language that I did, which I made it I made it seem like I wasn't running, and
Mm,
that's when I would run, right? So anytime I had my arms crossed, I'm probably running on that pitch because I know my body language to the pitcher means, hey, this guy's not running, right? So I would stand out there like this sometimes. I'll lower this so you can see me a little bit. All right, I'd stand like there like this sometimes because does this look like a running position? Hell no.
mm.
So the pitcher comes set, right? He comes set. He's looking at me. He sees my arms crossed. What is he going to do? He picks. He's stupid, right?
Yeah.
So the likelihood of him picking in that situation is smaller. So like I'm just constantly playing the cat and mouse game.
Mm.
There's a lefty on the mound and he's looking right at me. I'm talking to my first base coach and I'm like, hey, is he looking? Right. I'm looking in a different direction because if he thinks I'm not paying attention, that means he's not going to pick over.
I love that.
So my gamble is a lot more, but I made him think that I'm not going. So if he ends up picking when I'm talking to the first base coach,
What is he doing?
what is he doing? Like I'd be like extremely close to the base like this. Like, is he looking? And I could see him in the corner of my eye. And then it was just so many different things that I used to do. I used to peek in like, hey, if I saw, you'd be surprised how many times you can see signs.
Mm. Yeah, I
You
never
know,
did that. I never was able to utilize that, bro.
so what I did is, and I would, not that I put my helmet down, but I'd be here, right? And I'm looking at I pretend like I'm looking at the pitcher and my eyes are going towards the catcher.
Got you.
Just if I can see something. Hey, if I see him go like this down, like, hey, get this pitch down, or anytime I saw him go up, it's fastball, right? But if he does anything that emulates down, you're not throwing fastballs down.
No.
If a
No.
guy shook twice, if a guy went like this, shook once, shook twice, that means he's really focused on the signs. That's another thing that I'd be like, all right, I'm taking more of a gamble on this one,
I love
right?
it.
And some guys have good pickoff moves. Some guys suck at it,
Yeah.
right? So like you can be a little bit more aggressive. Just because I'm 100% into going doesn't mean I can't get back. So it was like playing that game of like, I did something also, like I would pretend to tie my shoes against lefties because they're looking at me. And then I would start to slide out like a little bit late. And now I have a running jump.
Oh, dude, that is the game within the game, bro.
Yeah, that's
That
the
is
game.
the
The
game
high
within it.
baseball IQ is what kind of changed everything. And then I had again going back to Doug, we almost had flash signs, right? Like if sometimes he thought he was going to the plate and he like was like 90% sure he was going to the plate, he would give me a little flash sign. I see him in the corner of my eye.
Yeah.
Like it was
Right in
just
line.
signals. Like we're with each other. 200 days a year.
Yeah.
Like how do we not have signs for each other?
For
Like,
sure.
you know what I'm saying? Like, how do we not helping each other?
It's amazing.
So
I didn't even
Doug
think
was a
about that.
big, like, and he was like, "Hey, I need you to run." And he would get on me sometimes, like, "Why are you running in that situation?" And I was a guy, like I said, I didn't need you to tell me how good you are. I need you to tell me, "Hey, you messed up," and
Yeah,
I need you to know why you messed up, right?
I
And
love
he
that.
was one of those guys that can do it because he was there. He's done it. He understands the game a little bit more. And I was on a team that was a perfect team for me to be on to try to run a lot because we weren't the best offensive team. So, like sometimes there was teams I played on, hey, we need you to stay on first because we want the hole bigger for this guy,
Mm,
right?
just
You
in
know what I'm
case.
saying?
Yes,
That's
dude.
why there were some teams where I didn't run a lot. Like I played for Nashville. Not to speak bad about anybody, but the team ERA was through the roof. So we're down 7-1. Are you running? Are you running in that
Are you
situation?
button? Yeah, are you running? Like, it's
Now
crazy.
my game kind of goes out the window a little bit.
Dude, yeah.
But that's
Yes.
the thing about the long ball. The long ball, you can swing for the fences at any time, but you can't play small ball all the time. There's certain rules. There's unwritten rules that involve that. You're if the guy's got a no hitter in the fifth inning, are you bunting? You
Might
know what
get
I'm saying?
hit. Yeah, dude. Yeah,
You,
dude.
you there's certain things that it's like the small ball game can go away in an instant,
I
you
love
know?
that.
And like you see it, I'm sure, and like the game's kind of changed a little bit now where it's not so, there's no more, not that there's no more meaning, but there's times where a guy just ran like down 7-1 in the eighth inning. I'm not doing that because I don't want anybody on my team getting hit because of
For
me.
sure. For sure. And I learned that, dude, in my career. I learned that there are unwritten rules sometimes the hard way. You know what I mean? Because where
Yeah.
we're coming from, it's like, sometimes you play in lopsided games, but at the end of the day, sometimes you just got to get your stats in. Like, it doesn't matter. No one's, but it's the higher up you go, there are unwritten rules, bro. So, like,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
you get limited in what you're able to do. I felt that in 2021 with my Iowa Cubs team. It's like our starting pitcher would get shellacked in the first two. He'd be out of there in the first 3 innings, and we're down fucking 9-0. Like, what? I can't
Yep.
bunt. You know what I
I
mean?
know.
Like,
My game goes out the window. Now the third baseman's back, and I'm like, do I do it here? Is this a situation
and
where
then
I
you're in
can?
between, and then you're in
Yep.
between. It's
Yep.
dude, it's a lose-lose, bro. I absolutely love everything you're talking about, bro. I love all of these, all the advice, all the insight, dude, the experiences. I appreciate you sharing them, man. One last question I got for you, then we'll let you get out of here, man. Again, I'm so grateful for your time, Zach, dude. This is
No
awesome.
problem.
9-hole hitter. So this is the 9-hole podcast where I'm trying to give insight and info to the next generation of 9-hole hitters, dudes that are undervalued, maybe undersized, right? Have different skill sets. Like, man, in your mind, when you think about a 9-hole hitter, if you have a team, if you have a lineup, like what is a 9-hole hitter supposed to do or be able to do in your lineup, man? What kind of traits and characteristics, make up a great 9-hole hitter?
Well, they're talking on this podcast right now, right? Like that's
That's right.
we are that type of player. I loved leading off. I really felt that. I took that personal when I was getting put lead off. Like I wanted to focus on getting on base, right? And that's what the 9-hole has to do. When your 9-hole hitter can get the top of the order back up, I think that's unbelievable. So like a scrappy, like I think, like I said, I watch a lot of the Yankee games. I think Oswaldo Cabrera is doing a really good job of that right
Mm,
now, getting on base, passing the baton to the next guy. Let the next guy do it, right? Like we don't need to be a hero, right? We don't need to be the hero. I want to win, right? So like I just got to get on for the next. I got to put a tough at bat on. If I go 0 for 3, I got to make sure he knows, oh, that 9-hole hitter is pretty scrappy, right? I got to make a name for myself.
I love that.
So putting yourself in a position where it's like, I'm never striking out. I'm never striking. I'm not giving you the satisfaction that you get to K me. I promise you. I will bite the ball before I swing and miss. Right? Like that's the type of player I was.
For sure.
So like I knew that I had to go up there, and the 9-hole to me is just like you got to just pass the baton to the next guy. Get the next
Love
guy
it.
up. Don't
I
be the
love it.
hero. Be part of the team. Don't be the hero. Be part of the team. Doug was a big believer in that. Don't be a hero. You don't need to be the hero. There's a time and a place to be the hero, but it's not right now. And it's not your time, right? So like pass the baton to the next guy. Get the next guy up. Draw a tough at bat. Draw a walk. Place a bunt down. Slap the ball the other way. right? I
It's
like
amazing.
I like that. I like the idea of like be the Joker, right? Be the guy that you don't know what to expect,
Ooh,
right? Every now and then you're gonna run into one, but most home runs I ever hit in a year was 4, 5, 6, maybe. So if that's not my game, why am I gonna try to swing for it?
amen.
You know? And the name of the name of the game is this: score more runs than the other team. If you're getting on base, you're doing your job, right? Do your job. Bill Belichick, do your job.
Fired me up right there.
You
Fire
know,
me
like
up right there. I
that's
love
that's
that, dude.
a big thing. And we'll go back to it, right? Like home runs, they're rally killers, and I get it. You know, I understand home runs are great; they score runs, but 7 solo home runs versus a grand slam and a 3-run home run, they're the same exact result,
Exact same.
and that's 2 home runs rather than 7 home runs.
Great way of looking at it, brother.
Score
That's a
more runs than the other team.
fantastic,
Name of the game.
fantastic way of looking at it. I appreciate you, man. I love that. Again, Zack Granite, thank you for your time. I see the Granite baseball shirt, man. Where can people find you, man? What are you doing now?
I am training. I do training for kids all ages. I have a 4-year-old, and I have kids in high school and some kids in college. Like I'm all over the place. I try to help the next generation. Kind of just you know, some kids got to work on confidence. Some kids need to work on mechanics. But you know, most of my thought process with all this is get a little bit tougher. Like I have a big sign in my space that says nobody cares. Work harder.
I love that. I love
Yep.
that. That's in New
And
Jersey?
that's in New Jersey, Monmouth County.
Monmouth
Monmouth.
County, New Jersey. Granite baseball, man. That's fantastic, man. Fires me up.
The last thing, and one other thing that no, Doug always implemented into me is, if you don't like it, play better, right? Like that's a big thing that I still do today. You're complaining about the food in the minor leagues. You know where they got really good food? The big leagues. You're complaining about the beds in the minor leagues. You know where they have five-star hotels? The big leagues. You're complaining where you're hitting in the lineup. You know how you move up in the lineup? You hit. If you don't like it in anything in life, if you don't like it, play better.
Amen. Amen.
Yep.
That's fantastic right there, Zack. Appreciate your time, brother. I appreciate you sharing the journey, some advice, man, opening up about, some of the experiences that you've had in the game, dude. Again, like I said, dude, it's an honor to have you on here. I tried to emulate, your style of play. I tried to relate to you because in a sea of launch angle and extra base hits, man, like those little speed guys, dude, if they can stick together, man, there's power in numbers, dude, for lack of a better term. But Zack, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so
No,
much for your
for having
time
me.
here,
I
man.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Of course. I appreciate everybody tuning in. We'll see you guys back here later today with Nick Dini. Take care. Thank you, Zack.
All right. Take care.